Well, hello there, people of the internet, and hello again, I'm TheMBmulti. Welcome to part 25 of My Doki Doki SNAFU. In the previous episodes, I had various interactions with people, I believe. I can't exactly remember. Didn't we do some Sayori things previously? I think so. Anyway, I've skipped ahead a little bit until the next choice, as you can see. Yeah, and we can walk home with Natsuki. We'll walk to school with Natsuki. So, I'm gonna start doing that a little bit from now on. Morning! Huh? Oh. Morning, Mark. I'm quickly altered by her abnormally tame greeting. You tired? A little bit. Couldn't fall asleep last night for some reason. Troubling sleeping, huh? Got a lot of built-up sexual frustration, maybe? Jeez, do you really have to say stuff like that? Yeah, really have to say stuff like that first thing in the morning? Whatever reaction you were hoping to get, I don't have the energy for it right now. Sorry, was just testing the waters a little bit. If you're really that tired though, couldn't you have slept in a little bit later? She shakes her head. I'd be worse off not eating breakfast. Plus, I can always take a nap during class afterwards. Swagging like a proud member of the literature club. Give me a break, will ya? Not having the usual upbeat and hyper-reactive Natsuki around is kinda bumming me out, which culminates in me getting an idea. Here, this isn't much, but it's not like the portions at school are any bigger. I reach into my bag before pulling out the rice bowl I'd wrapped myself for lunch. What do you want me to do with that? Eat it, obviously. Just eat it! Just eat it! Being hungry will only make you more tired, right? This is meant to elevate that. You really don't have to. I'm aware. Realizing there's no point in arguing with me on this, Natsuki timidly takes my offering. Don't get the wrong idea over this, okay? I never accept food from you if it wasn't absolutely necessary. Yeah, say what you will. I've also got a bottle of water to help wash the rice down, just let me know if you need it. The rest of our walk is spent with a lightly blushing Natsuki biting into my afternoon snack. I get the feeling, yeah, I wonder if you may... Yeah, we already skipped an entire weekend, I believe, last time, so... I don't know about that. Are you sure about that? Alright, well, let's talk to Natsuki. That is Yuri. I'm fine with Yuri too. Good afternoon, Mark. Happy to see you in the club again today. Oh, hey Yuri. Surprised you haven't started reading yet. That's because I was recently entrusted with a task by a fellow club member. A task? Indeed. Natsuki sent me a message asking me to inform you that she'd be in the home ec room during the club meeting and would appreciate if you joined her. Huh? Appreciate? You sure this is Natsuki we're talking about? It? Well, those may not have been her exact words. No surprise there. Would you mind reading the text word for word to make sure there aren't any errors in your translation? She hesitates for a moment before pulling out her phone. Very well. If you believe it will be helpful. God damn it, Natsuki. Tell that useless Mark to come to the home ec room during the club. I need someone to wash the dishes and can't imagine him being busy or being useful in there. Yeah, that definitely sounds more like Natsuki. I do apologize for her rudeness. No worries, her crass way of speaking is more or less expected at this point. Though I can't help but wonder why she asked for me. I'm unsure as well. She adamantly refused when I offered to come in your stead. Suppose the most reasonable explanation is she just wants to make me do once again, you messed up the word manual labor, but okay. Alright, well thanks for letting me know, Yuri. Guess I'll head that way. Thanks for agreeing to such an unreasonable request, Mark. I'm glad someone so courteous? Isn't it courteous? Well, maybe this works too. I don't know how you pronounce it though. Courteous? I think courteous. I mean, it flows better out of my mind at least. Join the club. You really give me too much credit. Girlfriend, wink wink. Don't say that out loud. After setting my bag down at my desk, I leave the room. The first thing to catch my eye upon entering the home ec room is where Natsuki is standing. Instead of leaning over the sink, scrubbing dishes, she's couched over in front of the oven. I think crouched. Useless Mark, class 3B, ready for duty. My introduction successfully draws her attention. Hey, you should present yourself like that more often. It gives people a better first impression. Don't get used to it. I was only trying to meet the expectation you set for me that in that message to Yuri. She actually showed it to you? In a sense. Perhaps you were intending to keep its contents confidential? She is my girlfriend! She has no secrets for me! Just like with Monika, you've lost the game before it even started! Or the battle, or whatever. Not really. I just thought she'd ask in her own way to try and cover for me. Well, she did, but... Apparently the way I act towards you is what she considers rude. Well, it is! Well, you're not wrong about either of those. Huh? You are definitely rude, but it's a non-issue considering I'm not much better. And Yuri did try covering for you, but the way she asked was so polite, it was obvious you weren't the one who said it. Hey, I can be polite too. I just don't have a reason to be around you. Whether that's true or not doesn't really concern me. I'm just here to do menial labor after all. That said, I point toward the sink where Natsuki was stationed last time. There's not a single dirty dish inside. Because I haven't started yet, obviously. Started? I was under the impression that we'd be cleaning the dirty dishes left over from the home ec class. That's normally the case, but today is different. This time, I'm the one using them. Why is she getting so excited all of a sudden? Right. So you came in here to bake something? Yep. Before you so rudely interrupted, I was getting everything together. Looking past her, I see a few bowls, a mixer, some baking sheets, and various ingredients placed along the counter. Judging by the baking sheet, brown sugar, and bag of chocolate chips, I'm guessing you'll be making cookies? Am I wrong? No, I'm just surprised you figured it out. Well, it's not exactly rocket science, the plan's really what gave it away. Those things are nicknamed cookie sheets, aren't they? Well, when you put it like that, it sounds kinda obvious. Guess I was expecting you to be dumber. This little punk. Knowing what you're preparing doesn't explain why you bothered asking for me to come wash unused dishes. Couldn't you have waited until they were done? Oh, until you were done? Are you really that dense? I asked you to come help and then brought up making cookies. Can you really not figure it out? You want to use our time alone together to perform lewd acts on me under the pretense of cooking lessons. Of course not, idiot! I see. Guess I shouldn't have gotten my hopes up. Hopes? You wanted me to... Everything from her neck up becomes bright red. Pervert! Watching her panic is quite enjoyable up until the point she picks up a baking sheet while taking a time to defend myself stance. Whoa, easy there. I didn't actually think things were gonna go in that direction, alright? I was just trying to get a reaction, that's all. I know, but that doesn't make me not want to hit you any less. While that's not entirely unreasonable, would you at least consider the consequences first? You end up bending the cookie sheet if you hit me. Destruction of school property is taken pretty seriously, not to mention you'll be unable to use it for future baking. It's really annoying how you always try to rationalize things. I'm not one to get caught up in the moment. And believe me, it annoys me as much as everyone else. Still on edge, Natsuki slowly places the pan back on the counter. I'm guessing the right answer to your question was that you wanted me to assist in baking the cookies? I did. Not so sure now. You've known me long enough to know the kinds of things I say, right? Surely you didn't believe I actually wanted things to get heated? No, but that doesn't make it any less annoying. That a fact? Natsuki lets out a sigh before turning back towards the counter. Do you even know how to bake cookies? The gist of it, yeah, imagine my phone could fill me in on the rest. That's probably good enough. Plus you could just watch me if you don't know what you're doing. Here, this is everything you'll need to make sugar cookies. I'll handle the chocolate chip ones. She has several ingredients and a few bowls divided up on the counter. Right, but I still had questions. Have questions. Unless they're about baking, save them until after you get started. We've already wasted enough time. Adopting the attitude of a middle manager, Natsuki returns her attention to her own post. Baking sheets are kept in the bottom drawer of every counter, the one directly under the oven. Roger that. I begin walking towards the counter directly in front of the one Natsuki's at. Hey, don't forget this! She extends a second bowl towards me as I'm passing by. Can't I just leave them here? How do you plan on using them if you're over here? I'm only bringing a baking sheet back, right? Huh? Are you dumb? You'll be making yours over there. These ovens only have one shelf, so we'll have to use two. Be that as it may, we could... How formal. We could still use the same counter to prepare the cookies, couldn't we? Well... There's not a lot of room, so... You don't occupy a lot of room either, Natsuki. We're making cookies, not playing Monopoly. I don't think space will be an issue. Not to mention it would prevent us from having to clean two countertops. Whilst Natsuki is acting unsure, I grab a cookie sheet from an adjacent counter's drawer. Here, this should be fine. Standing across from her, I place my sheets parallel to the one she has prepared. I guess this won't be a problem. But you'll still have to use a different oven once we're done making them. Considering there's one 3 feet behind me, I don't think it'll be an issue. Then it's fine. But only because it'll be easy to clean. It's not like I want to stand closer to you or anything. Duly noted. Now, it'd be so kind to show an amateur like me how to make proper cookies. Right, just leave it to me. I'll have you making bakery-grade sweets in no time. Well, it's not like I really need her to show me steps, but handling her overconfident baker side is much easier than dealing with her tsundere one. First, mix together the flour, baking soda and baking powder in the smaller bowl. And so the next few minutes were spent dealing with typical baking items, butter, eggs, sugar, the usual. As she mentioned before, Natsuki is working with chocolate chips, whereas I'm making plain sugar cookies. We're both currently packing the mix into bowls and lining the baking sheets with them. Since we're this far along, do you mind if I ask you my questions from before? Questions? Oh, guess you did mention something like that earlier. Sure, go ahead. The most obvious one is, why are we making cookies? Didn't I tell you? Unless it came up in the time between you questioning my intelligence and calling me a pervert, I don't think so. That kind of makes it sound like you're the reason. But I'm making them because of Sayori, and also because I wanted to. The second part is understandable, but what do you mean by because of Sayori? Did she beg you to make them? Beg is going a bit too far. She asks me to make sweet salad, but it never feels like an actual demand. It's more like, sure, would be nice if you made sweets for the club again. Makes sense. She's not an overly demanding person to begin with. But if it's not because she asked, why say you're making them for her? Well, Sayori always gets really excited whenever I bake something, kinda like a little kid. Seeing her like that makes me kinda happy. Hey, the hell are you smiling about? Sorry. I just forget that you're a girl sometimes. What's that supposed to mean? No need to be so defensive. It wasn't meant as an insult. And I'm sure hearing you say that would put Sayori over the moon. Her blush grows a deeper shade of red. Good. Making cookies this amazing isn't something just anyone could do after all. Knowing there's someone else looking out for Sayori fills me with something like relief. Thank you, Natsuki. Why are you thanking me? They weren't made for you, you know? I shake my head. Honestly, thank you. I heard the first time. Jeez, why are you getting so serious all of a sudden? It's creeping me out. Sorry, it felt like something I needed to say. It's really not a big deal. Sayori's my friend too. Still red-faced, Natsuki continues to roll up the cookie mix. That's actually very sweet though, that she cares for Sayori. Did I say Natsuki accidentally? Sayori's my friend too. It's not long before we finish, both ending up with 10 balls of dough lining our sheets. She had set both ovens to preheat right before I arrived, meaning they were ready when we needed them. Now all that's left is to let them bake. We'll check to see if they're finished in 10 minutes. Should we go ahead and wash some dishes in the meantime? Hey, you catch on quick, rookie. Here, pass me the bowls. Doing as I'm told, Natsuki takes the 4 bowls we used and sets them next to the sink. While she's turning on the water, I walk over and grab a dry rag out of the nearby cabinet. After reassuming my position next to her, a question from earlier comes to mind. Is there a reason you picked me specifically to come help as opposed to one of the others? Yuri mentioned her offer to come in my stead, but said you refused. There really wasn't much of a reason. You were just the only one in the club I could ask. And by that you mean... Well, Sayori is really nice, and I'm sure she would have agreed to help, but you were afraid she'd cause complications? Natsuki nods. I'm sure Monika could handle something as easy as making cookies, but she always seems super busy. And Yuri... Why'd you turn her down? No way! Yuri already does so much for me, there's no way I could ask her to help with even more stuff. She does so much for you? She quickly tries to hide her sudden panic by shoving a wet bowl into my ribcage. Hurry up and dry these, would ya? An obvious attempt to dodge the question. Guess there's a bit of a rabbit hole tied to her relationship with Yuri. Well, that's probably how most friendships are. Right. Instead of pressing for answers, I take the bowl and begin carrying out her order. Interesting. Well, we did actually see that, I believe, Yuri invited Natsuki over for dinner at one point. Right? Or am I mixing different mods now? Maybe. But I do believe there was something along... Well, we did see Natsuki hanging out in Yuri's room during that Yuri... That sort of... It wasn't a flashback, but during that point where we all of a sudden randomly were seeing Yuri's point of view for no reason. Which was kind of weird because it happened once and it never happened again. I could choose between Yuri's or Sayori's POV. It happened very briefly and then never again. Very, very odd. But yeah, during that moment we did see that Natsuki was hanging out at Yuri's room. And Yuri was considering bringing a book for me. The following minutes pass in silence, with us finishing the dishes before putting them all back where they originally came from. The ticking of a timer is what eventually brings an end to this tranquility. Excited that the 10 minutes have finally passed, Natsuki throws open the oven door with a renewed vigor. Ooh, these turned out pretty good. What about yours? Situation normal, Chief. No irregularities detected. We both take out the trays and set them on the newly decluttered counter. Yeah, not bad for an amateur, but it's clear that my baking skills are superior. Ma'am, yes ma'am, your skills are truly unrivaled. Again, what's with the military talk all of a sudden? The extended silence bored me, ma'am. Figured I'd do this to entertain myself. Well, would you stop? It's weird. Or are you secretly one of those military otaku who collect model guns and talk in jargon all the time? Sorry, I'm afraid not. That's probably a good thing. While saying this, Natsuki bends over to open her bag. They should all fit in these, but don't start packing them until they've cooled down. She hands me one of the 2 Tupperware bowls she just pulled out. Seems like a weird thing to carry around in your school bag all day. Sue me. They were only in there because I've been planning on making cookies since yesterday. Well, what you keep in there has nothing to do with me, but why make this many cookies? These were baked for These were baked to make Sayori happy and scratch your culinary itch, right? Couldn't you have just made a handful? Yeah, but wouldn't it be a waste to do all that for a few cookies? If you're gonna put the time in, you might as well make as many as you can. But it does sound like an efficiency-focused use of time. Do you think the others will be able to eat them all? Probably not. But me and Sayori can take home whatever's left over. Good. There are a few things more evil in this world than wasting food. You're preaching to the choir with that one. I am? Huh? Oh, it's nothing. Seeing good food go to waste is just really frustrating when you're a baker, that's all. I'm sure that's all. I see. Here, how about we go ahead and start loading up the cookies? In an attempt to change the subject, Natsuki picks up a spatula sheet prepared to gets to work. It's not long after she's passed the utensil to me that all the cookies have been sealed in the Tupperware. The only thing left now is to wash the pans and clean the counter. You're planning on handing these out to the club today, right? Yeah, why? I hand her my Tupperware bowl. There's only 15 minutes left in the meeting, so why don't you go ahead and return without me? I'll handle things here. Are you sure? Oh, what's that? The usually cold Natsuki finally warms up to little old me? Of course not! Why would I care about you getting stuck with all the work? This is fine, honestly. Staying here and bickering about it will only waste more time. I placed the 2 pans in the sink before pulling out some cleaning supplies from the counter. Finishing up here shouldn't take too long. I'll catch up with you in no time. Looking like she wants to say more, Natsuki instead turns and heads toward the door. Right before stepping into the hallway though, she stops. You better not take too long, alright? There won't be any cookies left if you do. I'll be sure to work extra hard in that case. Having been reassured, she leaves me alone in the room. Now then, let's get started. There's only about 5 minutes left of the meeting as I approach the club room door. A feeling of deja vu hits me upon seeing Monika, Yuri, Sayori and Natsuki all huddled together in the back, each one with a cookie in hand and a cup of tea set in front of them. Monika and Yuri notice my entrance, but Natsuki and Sayori are oblivious to my presence as they happily chat away. Still can't believe you were making cookies for everyone this whole time. I would have helped if you had told me. Haha, that's alright. Making simple chocolate chip and sugar cookies isn't super demanding. And it's not like I was by myself. Mark made the sugar cookies. Huh? Mark did? Yuri said he only went to help you with the dishes. Well, that was part of it. But I guess I ended up needing more help than I thought. Actually, could you maybe thank him for me? I didn't really get a chance to. Of course, you can count on me. Hey Mark, Natsuki said she wanted to thank you for helping with the cookies. Don't worry, Sayori, I heard her loud and clear. Mark! Natsuki nearly falls out of her seat after realizing I'm behind her. When did you? About 20 seconds ago. The color drains from her face before being replaced with a bright red. Looks like you may have heard something you weren't supposed to. Chalk it up to bad timing. My eavesdropping was by no means intentional. Look Mark, she even told us to leave a chocolate chip one for you. Saying this doesn't help Natsuki's condition, instead causing her to hide her face in her hands. Thanks Natsuki, I appreciate it. And I think I'm starting to see why everyone calls you cute. Dummy! With Natsuki continuing to be flustered, the rest of us spend what little time is left enjoying the cookies. Sociability increased by 5. Okay, so I just needed to spend more time with everyone, instead of only with Yuri. I guess that's how I got supposed to be getting my sociability. Alright, Kiba for a change. Bzz, bzz. Kiba glances down at his phone and begins going off. What? Glances down at as his phone begins going off, okay. An update about your new restraining order? Probably not. Well, probably, what do you mean? So you say you have a restraining order? That whole case got settled. Oh, yeah. That whole case got settled out of court a few weeks ago. Triple dot. You serious? Hey, would you look at that? My sister sent me a text. Must have started feeling lonely without her dear older brother around. His excitement slowly fades away while reading the actual message. She filing for an order too? Huh? Oh, not today. But there's just something we've been talking about for a while now. Though I had no idea the promotion was starting so soon. Promotion? And what do you mean by not today? Let's just drop talking about my sister, okay? She wouldn't want me telling other people about this. Considering you haven't elaborated on what this actually is, I'd say you've done a good job of avoiding her wrath thus far. Let's hope so. Though my life is technically safe so long as she has no other way of getting her hands on them. Following this last cryptic line, Kiba does as he recommended and drops all mention of both his sister and the details of their discussion. Okay. He might reach out over the weekend. Okay. Well, literature club. Talk to Natsuki again. Oh, I didn't even check the appeal. Yeah, it goes down only. What the hell? Is it because I'm already on Yuri's route? Does it somehow decrease appeal then? It works a bit strangely, I must admit. Also, Sayori is on 16? That was on like 97 or something. Looking towards the closet, I see Monika and Natsuki having an animated conversation. Just how often do they plan on making me move them? Well, this is their room, not to mention we already keep a tea set in there. If they found out those boxes were actually full of manga, they'd probably ban us from using the closet entirely. Manga is literature too, though. Why do they have to make such a big deal out of it? Is there a problem? Both girls turn their attention to me. Oh, hello, Mark. Sorry you had to overhear that. But you've covered Monika does her classic pose again. But you've come at a perfect time. Natsuki could actually use your help too. I already said I didn't need help. I've done it before and I could do it again. Having him around would just make things harder. Well, it's true that you've rearranged them before. We were told to place them on the top shelf this time. Those boxes aren't light, even for me. Not to mention I'm what? Were you gonna say short? Bump Natsuki out of the way. I think I'll delegate this responsibility to you, Mark. Good luck. Delegate. Clever, Monika. Clever. Huh? Wait, I don't even know what's going on. And with that, the annoyingly careless president makes her escape. Yeah, delegate. Good one, Monika. Honestly. Turning back towards Natsuki, it appears I'm now the target of her anger for some reason. Go ahead, say that I'm short. You're short. Moving on. Mind telling me what all that I dodged left to avoid her fist was about? Monika was more irresponsible than usual, which makes me assume the issue is actually serious. That sound accurate? It's none of your business. True. But if the use of the closet is at stake, it has the potential to become my business. I'll need somewhere to store all my erotic memoirs, once I'm finished writing them, after all. Can you not act serious for 2 seconds? If the situation calls for it, sure. But given how that situation is still unknown to me, I'm still operating on autopilot. Ugh. So what's up? Something to do with boxes and manga? You're gonna bug me until I tell, aren't you? Glad you're catching on. Taking a moment to calm down, Natsuki turns to face the closet. The teacher told Monika we were taking up too much space and to move stuff out of the way. With the main thing being the 2 boxes of manga. She asked Monika to have them moved to the top shelf where they'd be less obstructive. That's a fairly reasonable request, right? Why bother making such a big deal out of it? Monika doesn't think I'll be able to move them by myself. Hence the short conversation. Well, the problem is plain to see, especially if those boxes are as heavy as Monika made them sound. She's the president though, right? Didn't she offer to help? Natsuki shakes her head. She said something about building character through problem solving. Class star my ass. Not like I needed her anyways. This will be easy, even if I'm by myself. Brimming with baseless confidence, Natsuki steps toward the closet. Finding myself emotionally involved with the outcome, not really, I follow. 2 cardboard boxes sit idly on the floor near the doors. Peering inside, top shelf appears to be level with the top of my head. Not to rub salt in a wound, but can you even reach up there to begin with? Of course I can! Stepping inside, she shows that she can, in fact, place her fingers on the top shelf. But only by standing on her tiptoes. Well, I've been proven wrong. You've obviously got this in the bag. See ya! See, this is gonna be a piece of cake. Why would I ask for help? Acting smug for some reason, Natsuki bends over to pick up a box. An audible grunt comes from or escapes her mouth, I guess. A weird combination, and they left some in. An audible grunt escapes her mouth upon beginning to hoist it off the floor. Lift with your knees, not your back. You'll damage your That's the wrong your. You'll damage your invertebral discs otherwise. I know that. Shuffling into the closet, she stops a few inches from the shelves to properly eye up her foe. Not wasting time, I pick up the remaining box. Oh, this is pretty weighty. Guess that shouldn't be surprising though. Walking up next to her, I raise my arms above my head and place the box on the top shelf. Hey, what do you think you're doing? What the fuck? What the fuck? Calisthenics. Radio calisthenics. I don't even know what that is, but I did that apparently. I said I didn't need your help. Oh, sorry, I thought it was some sort of secret cry for assistance. Honest mistake. So you're gonna put that up there? I'm working on it! Natsuki begins raising the box, eventually able to bring it over her head. But even then, she still barely reaches the top shelf. After a few seconds of struggling, she reaches her limit and has to set the box back on the floor. You're determined, I'll give you that. Now what? Not wanting to admit defeat, she starts looking around the closet. There, I'll use that. She points to a collapsible stool that's tucked in the corner behind me. Good eye. You shouldn't have any able problems reaching the top with this. I hand over the stool, which she promptly opens and set near the shelves. Possessed by renewed vigor, Natsuki lifts the box before mounting the stool. Whoa! The shift in weight causing some wobbling, but Natsuki is able to maintain her balance. I instinctively find myself moving closer in the case that she does fall. Even though she's not far off from the floor, there's still the possibility of hitting her head on one of the walls. You okay? Fine, I'm fine. Just gotta raise this up. Displaying a similar scene to earlier, Natsuki begins lifting the box. However, this time she's barely able to bring it up to her chin before losing her strength. Something wrong? My arms are tired. Hey! Why the hell are you over there laughing? Sorry, I couldn't help it. Seeing you like this is cute. Guess the contrast made me lose my composure. Cute? Don't start saying weird things, dummy. Oh, my bad. Unable to muster any more strength in her arms, Natsuki steps off the stool and sets the box down. Still not gonna give up? Of course not! I just need to stand on something taller. Poking her head around the closet, she begins scanning over the room for something useful. That's it! Natsuki darts across the classroom following this exclamation. She reappears several seconds later, dragging the teacher's chair in her wake. I'll barely even have to lift it standing on this. She puffs out her chest in pride as though she just found the Holy Grail. True, it's a bit taller, but isn't there a glaring issue with this one? Huh? What are you talking about? I kick the seat of the chair, causing it to swivel before sliding into the wall. Seems a little unstable. It's fine, as long as I stay balanced there won't be any problems. Nothing more convincing than hearing a jinx like that. Ignoring my sarcastic mumbling, Natsuki picks up the box for a third and final time. Oh, we already know it's the final time. She dies. Natsuki just dies. We all know it. It's all happening. It's happening in real time right now. Everybody's gonna get. We're gonna see it live. Well, not live because it's a video. I'm not live streaming this, but you know, it's live. Natsuki will die. Her final moment is in the literature club. I think I made the same comparison back when I played the original Doki Doki, but there is a, or Doki Doki Plus, because I never saw the scene in the original time I played it. But there's a scene from a Dutch comedian that very much reminds me of this, where he talks about like how he was drunk one time, and he tried to show his girlfriend that he wasn't drunk at all, and he like and then when they were laying in bed together, he was about to vomit, and he like tried to suppress it, and it didn't go well, and then he had to vomit. Which that part is hilarious when he like vomits in an imaginable toilet, an imaginary toilet that is on stage, because of course it isn't. Fucking hilarious. But then he retaliates on his girlfriend. He's like, she can't handle alcohol either, because there was a few weeks later she was drunk as all hell, and then he talks about how he was like protecting her, like getting his girlfriend home while she was completely drunk out of her mind. And then when they were home together, she wanted to dance, like, and then she was gonna dance on a chair, on a desk chair. And ladies and gentlemen, we all know a desk chair, or a swivel chair, desk chair, whatever. We all know a desk chair. The seating can turn around and the wheels underneath. And I'm standing like, don't do this, be careful, be careful. And then she goes, I have everything under control. And when she says, under control, the entire swivel chair swoops out underneath her, and she hits her head, bang, exactly on the corner of the desk. Boom! He even does that in the show. It's very funny. It's like, no, it wasn't funny. She hit her head really hard. So yeah, it really reminds me of that. It's like, ladies and gentlemen, a swivel chair can turn around and there are wheels underneath. Same thing here. A new problem quickly presents itself as she realizes she will now have to climb into the chair. What is it with this modern into instead of onto? It's in the floor, in the chair. Like, it sounds like you're clipping through the chair, but you mean on the floor, on the chair. At least I've always heard that you're supposed to say on the chair, on the floor, but could just be me. Well, this is the same mod that spells manual labor horribly wrong, so... She has to bring her leg up fairly high just to step on it, but doing so immediately causes the seat to wobble. Realizing that stepping onto a swivel chair while holding a heavy object isn't ideal, she instead opts to set the box on a lower shelf so she can mount the chair with free hands. Whoa! Her attempts to stand upright immediately causes the seat to wobble. The fear in her eyes. The smile like everything is fine, but then the fear in her eyes of holy fucking shit. This stuttering is only made worse by her grabbing the box. Do you just plan on standing there and watching all day? What happened to not needing help? Holding the chair doesn't count. What kind of logic is that? Just do it. Jaws, do it. I can't move with the chair spinning like this. You really are too stubborn for your own good, you know that? Taking a seat on the floor, I grab hold of the chair's legs. Ah, come on! Let her fail. You must fail to learn something. Natsuki needs to learn a life lesson here. So just, I mean, don't die, of course, but you know, yeah. You're the last person I want to hear that from. Oh, and why's that? You're the one who's always trying to butt in everything when I tell you not to. Honestly, for a guy who always talks about only being good for taking orders, you kinda suck at it. Following orders is my forte. The only reason you think otherwise is because you're special. I have to tighten my grip as the chair begins trying harder to wobble. Hey, take it easy, will ya? You'll end up falling at this rate. And whose fault is that? Huh? What do you mean special? That's what you're caught up on? Just answer the question. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe you could call it familiarity, like seeing you being stubborn and struggling on your own makes me feel nostalgic. So you're some kind of sadist? Want to know the real answer to that question? I'll pass. What about now? Are you helping because of that feeling? I'd say it's only half the reason. The other half being because I enjoy your company. Once again, I have to restrain the chair. Stop saying such embarrassing things, dummy. It didn't feel embarrassing to me, just speaking honestly. Natsuki goes quiet for a while after she continues trying to place the box. Just a little bit more. Watch out! Immediately after saying this, a loud plop fills the closet as a book smacks the floor next to me. Sure you don't want me to handle it? I told you I'm fine. Just hand that to me, will ya? Yes, ma'am. Grabbing the fallen manga, I hold it up towards Natsuki. In doing so, it becomes clear that peering up her skirt would be effortless from this point. A fact she becomes more than aware of after looking down to grab the book. What are you looking at? You're trying to look at my... Settle down, will ya? You'll end up falling. You perf! You perf! You set me up! Get out! As she begins making a scene, the chair swivels even harder. This is the point where you just fucking book it. I'm able to hold this, but that doesn't prevent Natsuki from losing her balance. Yeah! Or Kia. I still don't understand why that is such a thing. Kia. Nobody ever says Kia. But okay. I'm buying a car! Quickly standing up, I'm able to catch her by the waist before she's able to fall too far backwards. Whoa! Whether by miracle or happy little accidents, by Bob Ross, the leg of the chair slides over and gets caught on my foot, keeping it from sliding any further. Having apparently accepted her fate, Natsuki clenched her eyes tightly shut. Upon opening them, however, her face quickly turns a bright red. Pervert! Why do you think you're touching me? She pulls off the arm currently wrapped around her. Honestly, how am I still the bad guy after all of that? Guess I'll be the next person. Guess I'll just let the next person in distress hit the floor. Releasing my hold on Natsuki's abdomen, I look back towards the doorway, my foot still driven under the chair. You saw them, didn't you? Tears appear in the corners of her eyes as she asks. If you're referring to your underwear, rest assured I did not. I've mentioned it before, but the color and design of your panties doesn't interest me in the slightest. Do you really have to say it like that, dummy? Would you prefer the thought of them to plague my mind 24/7? Still flustered, Natsuki continues to angrily grab the box of manga. Several minutes later, she steps down from the chair, having successfully finished her mission. Got it done? She avoids making eye contact. While we could have avoided that whole debacle... had you just let me help you from the beginning, this kind of thing should be expected with you. Maybe I was the one being careless. Either way, good work on finishing up. I'll go let Monika know things went alright. Shortly after I've stepped back into the classroom, Natsuki speaks up. Thanks for catching me. I would have fallen if you hadn't, right? Saying thanks is the obvious thing to do. You don't have to look so surprised. Yeah, it's nice seeing your dere side. As nice as seeing your dere side is, don't worry about it. Growing up with that bundle of clumsy we call vice president trained my reflexes pretty well. If anything, she's the one you should be thanking. Just accept my gratitude, will ya? Do you have to nitpick every single thing? Right, sorry, force of habit. And it really isn't a big deal. Part of the reason you lost your balance was because of me, so I'd say we're even. Ugh. You suck at this, but fine, we're even then. Thinking things have been settled. I'm proven wrong when she grabs my jacket with a menacing look on her face. But if you really did just set me up to look at them, I'd never forgive you. Right, I'll keep that in mind. Releasing a grab, she looks away as I step out of the closet. Sociability increased by 5. With nothing in particular to do, I'm left with... Yeah, well, this doesn't matter. Alright, I'll end it off here. Some Natsuki interactions for you. Hope you enjoyed it. Click the like button if you did. Subscribe to join the Roman army, and I'll see you in the next one. See you later, Romans. Waleta.